Welcome to a guide to new mods on Farming Simulator 19 with me, MrSealyp. Okay, so we have another mod review guide to video. This one's a kind of better late than never one. I know these mods came out on Friday? I think it was Friday these mods came out. And today is Sunday. So I'm a little bit behind on this, but with all the map tools and the maps that have come out and various different things that have been happening, I didn't get a chance to do it when I wanted to. But that's actually not a bad thing, because I've been tipped the wink on something here that I want to show you. So we're going to start off. I think we'll do the tractors in the foreground first, and then we'll move on. First off, I know the thumbnail has said something, and we'll get to that. That's important. This is the Ursus 1214. This is by Kazstan 18. It will use up 9 slots, which is pretty cool. I think I've kind of got this one set up in a fairly aggressive looking stance, I'll be honest, with the twins and stuff. And the yellow, it makes it kind of stand out and pop. This is a nice mod, actually. Well, they're all nice mods, but this one's really, really cool. I like this. Now, it may look fairly plain, and I say that some mods look very intricate, very complicated, and then you get some mods that look quite plain and ordinary. But Ursus tractors, generally speaking, they're not all bells and whistles, they're not all frills, and this is a slightly older tractor anyway, and it's supposed to look like that. That's kind of the whole point. What I do like about these types of tractors, and we had, what was the Ursus we had in FS17, I can't remember now. I like these back windows here that are behind the driver's seat, and they're kind of angled backwards to help you see the 3-point linkage when you're hooking up. I know a lot of tractors do have them, they have a little small bit or whatever, but in cab you can really see down incredibly well to the 3-point link. I like that about this. Anyway, so let's have a look at this in store. It's under small tractors. And right at the end we've got the Ursus 1214. Only 42,000 for the base model, which is really good price-wise. Like I said, it's 9 slots. Again, not too heavy on the slot count. And it goes, well, it's 117 horsepower. There's no option to change the horsepower on it. 117 is what you get. But for 42 grand, that's pretty good. Options, and we've got quite a few here. We can change the rim colour to any of those. And it's an interesting selection of colours here. We've got some real pale yellows. And a few different shades of those. We've got a darker grey, which weirdly enough I kind of like. Can't put my finger on why, just do. We can change the main colour to all of those. Again, an interesting selection of colours. I went for the yellow because it was bold, it kind of stands out on the thumbnail, but that little mint green's quite cool. I like that. Not everyone's, thing, but quite like it. And then design colour is the actual kind of engine section. So if we put it on yellow, you'll see it really stand out. So all the kind of chassis section, and realistically kind of the engine block as well, is all done in that colour. So you can do, however you want to go about doing that, whichever colour selection you choose, but that kind of shows you in good contrast what the three do. Then we come down to configuration, and that is at the front we can have a 200 kilogram weight. For some reason, every time I click sideways on that, it bounces it back up to the top. I don't know why. We can have a 540 kilogram weight, which sticks it right at the front there, and then we come back to standard again. Right, now, if you notice on standard, we've got some options here that come all the way down. In the little sidebar, you've got a scrolling sidebar, which means if we come all the way down, you've got this option down the bottom for a front loader attacher. I'm going to jump to that first. We can have it yes or no. For a front loader attacher. However, if I come back up here and I put the configuration on 540 kilogram weight, that option is no longer available. It's not there. So you can't have a front loader attacher on here if you've got the 540 kilogram weight, which is an interesting one. Just trying to get back to that. It's weird, there's two 540 kilogram weights, but it doesn't seem to make much difference anyway. Right, options for tyres. We've got Trelleborgs, Michelins, or Nokians. Now, Trelleborgs, we've got wheel set up, we can have wheel weights. Let's put a small wheel weight on the back there. We can have rear twins, like so. Let's swing around that way a little bit, might be able to see a bit better. Twins, which is kind of what I went for, and back to standard. If we go to Michelin's, which actually raises up quite a bit, you think that difference there, Michelin's to Trelleborgs, see the whole thing raise up. Standards, wheel weights again on the back, wide tyres and weights, rear twins and twins. So we've got slightly different selections for each tyre choice, and then the knock-ins we've got standard, wheel weights, rear twins, twins, back to standard. There's no narrow option, is there? Just thinking. We haven't come across a narrow. Wheel weights, rear twins, twins, standard. No. And then fenders. At the front, we've got metal fenders, or you can have plastic kind of curved fenders on there. So those are your options. There's quite a few to choose from to play around with. Actually, in the tractor, sounds alright, not too bad at all. Just going to open up this menu. There are no doors or windows that open, no options for anything like that. Just thought I'd show that just to make sure. As far as lights go, turn on the lights, nothing else comes on the dashboard for lighting. The cab's nice and tidy, it's quite sparse, which you'd expect for this type of tractor. But this is what I mean about the back. Looking at the back there to that 3-point link, it's a really nice clear shot, big window, you can see down to that nice and easily. I like it. Dials are all analog, no digital, so when we drive forward you get that little dial in the middle spins. I like that. And it sounds really cool. Now, interestingly, and it's a weird one, you know, it moves around and you'd expect it to. When I brought the stuff over here to do this guide to, and I put the cultivator on the back, I'm not going to show you the cultivator just yet, but look what it did to it. The suspension went really weird. It all sort of started moving all over the place. It had a lot more rock on it, especially going across rougher ground. All of a sudden the whole thing was all over the place, but I kind of like that. It was almost like a kind of like a comedy tractor. I don't know why, it just kind of made me smile. It just had a whole another dimension to the tractor. There was a lot of kind of rock and body roll on it, and anyway, well, there you go. So that's the Ursus 1214 from Cashstand 18. Very nice, very cool mod. Just dropped that off the back and pulled it out of the way. Sounds good outside as well, I like that. So next up, and this is the one that's quite important. Now this says on it it's the Favorite 515C. In the Modhub it says it's the Fendt 51X. So I was a little bit confused to start off with, and I first of all thought, have I got the wrong mod? Is it not installed properly? This is the mod. This is the one it's supposed to be. This is by Giant Software, and I want to get this right. I'm not sure I'm going to. FBM Trifara 2003? Trifara 2003. So it's a collaboration between the two. This has got a lot of options on it as well. A lot of detail on this one as well. Quite a contrast between the Ursus and this one. When you look on the side, I know we've got a front loader attached, but all the pipes and hoses, there is a lot of detail on this one. I'll be totally honest. It's a nice looking mod, very nice indeed. You're looking around the back, lots and lots of detail going on. So we'll have a look at it in store again. This is also under small tractors. And it's this one here. Again, it doesn't say 51X, it says 500 Favorite. So 76,000 to buy the base model, and we've got quite a few options available on this as well. We can change our rim colour to red or white. We can change our main colour to green or the Fendt Petrol, which I like that colour. That's a nice one. We can have, again, I get this on Mitas, Trelleborgs or Michelin's, and again we've got some options available here under the Mitas. We've got standards, wheel weights, puts the wheel weight on the back, and back again. So that's it, standard and wheel weights for the MefiuFs on this one. If we go back again, on the Trelleborgs we've got standard, wides, narrows, rear twins, rear narrow twins, which I think is the one I went for just because I thought it looked a bit different and kind of made it stand out, and then twin wheels all round back to standard. So that's one that's got your narrow options on it. And then under Michelin's we've got standard, wide, wide again, which is interesting. I think you've got kind of two wide options there. I was trying to tell if it changed because it was hard to tell. Yeah, so we've got standard, wide, and another wide, which seems to put it a little bit wider. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? So if you want your narrows, you've got to go for the Trelleborgs. And it's the Michelin's that give you the real chunky wide tyres rather than the MefiuFs this time. So design, we've got standard or without fender. So at the front there you can have a kind of open wheeled option. It's quite cool actually without that. And then engine setup, we've got a whole load here. Now this is important to look at as well. We've got our exhaust on the bonnet here. We've got a whole lot of options. It starts on 115 horsepower. I'm not going to read out all of those numbers in the bottom there because there's just too many to read. But we've got the 511C, 115 horsepower. We've got the 512C, which is 125 horsepower. We've got the 514C, which is 140 horsepower. The 515C, which is 150 horsepower. And then we've got the 515C, 180 horsepower. And all of those options, we've got our exhaust in the middle of the bonnet. If I keep pushing to the side, we go back to 115 horsepower, but the exhaust now has moved to the side. So you can have all those engine sizes in two different configurations. So we're back to 115 horsepower. We can go to the 125, 140, 150, but with that side exhaust option, you can't have the 180 horsepower option. So if you want the 180 horsepower option, you're going to have the exhaust in the middle of the bonnet. That's just the way it works. And then if we come down, we've got attacher. We can have the Stoll console or the Hauer console attacher, or nothing at all. So quite a few options. But that's not the party trick of this. What we're going to do is start it up. I love the sound of it. It's really cool. Sounds great. Looks good. Beacon. Lights. I didn't show the lights on the Ursus. Sorry about that. Rear working lights. I do like these slightly angled out lights at the back. Very cool. Main working lights. And off again. From inside the cab, if you look at the actual dash itself, digital dash, if I turn the engine off, dash goes blank. Turn it on. I love the fact all the starting lights come on. Really nice feature. Then we go lights on. Great. All the way through the light options and then back on again. Indicators show on either side of the dash. And we've also got the forward and reverse indicator. If I now put it in reverse, that switches to the reverse one and goes backwards. Really nice options. I like that a lot. Now, what we've also got is a rear opening window. If I remember correctly, it's L1, R1, and then right stick up and down. Yep. So we can open and close the rear window. Very nice indeed. But this one doesn't have an option for doors or anything like that. Again, we'll just double check that. L1, R1, L1, R1. You've got the option for the rear window. But yeah, there's no doors or anything that open on this. Now, here's where things get a little bit more interesting. What I have done in my menu, I have changed my vehicle, where are we? Dynamic vehicle camera. I normally have on. But that kind of gives you that as you drive along, the vehicle will move around you and your head stays in one position. With it off, your head moves with, so you get a better feel for the terrain, how steep hills are and that kind of thing, because you're moving actually with the vehicle rather than the vehicle moving around you, if that kind of makes sense. I've done this for a particular reason. When Giants first brought the game out, and we had this new seat suspension as part of FS19, The seat suspension now, when you drive in a normal tractor, you see the console and the seat maybe next to you bouncing up and down as you go over terrain. Now, a lot of people asked, why have we not got like head suspension so you would be moving with the seat? And they did say originally they had kind of tested it, and they were worried it would make people feel a bit sick after a period of time. That constant movement makes you feel a little bit kind of nauseous, and they didn't kind of put it in. Barris tipped me the wink on this, and I think he was watching, it might have been Landy Kid, or it might have been in the forum, because he's in the forums quite a lot, to say there's a PC mod available that allows for that, so you can get that head motion as you go. So what I'm going to do is very quickly jump out of this one. I'm into the Deutzfahr Warrior. Now, as you drive along on this one, I'm going to go across to this field just over here. I'm going to need this one in a minute anyway. You'll see I've changed the way it kind of goes. So as the tractor's moving, I'm moving with the tractor, not the tractor around me. So you get the same thing going down a dip. But you notice the console bouncing up and down. So you can see the console moving. You've got the seat suspension. Go across this field and you can see that slight movement on that console as we're going across. All well and good. So, back to the fence. Sounds great inside as well. If I go across the same field, we kind of look down a little bit. It's hard to tell, but because there's not a console as such, but they've put head suspension in, because the console, you know, look at the gear stick. I know it's not kind of attached. The seat is moving, but we're moving with it. It's subtle, but as we're moving across that field, you notice everything's moving. Our head is wobbling around in the cab. It is subtle. It's a slight little thing. And in talking to Barris, we were kind of wondering, you know, I know Giants didn't put it in initially, and they were worried about people feeling sick and nauseous and that kind of thing. Whether with this mod they've put it back in just to put it as a test, a subtle little, you know, what do people think? I have to say, I like it. It's a small change, and you don't necessarily notice immediately, but it makes a massive difference. It adds another level of immersion to it. So that's why this mod stands out. This is it's a real interesting change. You know, I'm quite surprised, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. But so there you go. That's the Fendt 51X by Giant Software, an FBM Trefara 2003. That's 22 slots, by the way. I thought I should mention that. And when we did look at obviously buying it, price-wise, it starts at 76,000. And if you start doing a lot of changes to it, things like the engine, if we were to go all the way up, sorry, I should have mentioned that, 180, we're looking at 85. It go, you know, it's going to go up. It's 8,500 to have the highest engine size. Wheel setups and things are going to change that, but you're still going to be getting 180 horsepower tractor for under 100,000, which I think is pretty impressive. That's good as well. So yeah, nice mod that. Now I'm going to use this again because what we have got, so I'm going off the front loader forks. The next mod we're going to look at is the handmade bale fork. This is by Lexik, which is just here in front of us now. Nice looking mod. It's a bale fork. This is designed to do 3 bales in a stack, and when you stack them up, they're going to lean back against this support here. The tines look quite long. They're going to definitely go right through a bale, no problem at all. At the end of the day, it's a bale fork because, you know, it hasn't got any moving parts or anything. It does exactly what it should do. It will pick up bales. There's not really, you know, there's not really a lot more I can say on it. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. I always say it's nice to have lots of options, and then people say, well, you know, it's a fair point, but how many bale forks do we need? You know, I kind of get both sides of the argument. I like the fact there's another option, and you know, you might just look at this and think, oh, I love that, that's for me, I'm having that. You know, everyone feels something different, but there you go. That's the homemade bale fork by Lexik. That will be, how many slots is that? That's only 1 slot. for that, which is quite cool. Right, moving on very, very quickly. Again, this is another one that's not going to require a lot of, you know, it is what it is, you know, it's right in front of you. This is pallet racking. This is by Black Labele TWD Modding. This is 2 slots to place, and it's stacking up all your pallets. You can put them on the floor, first rack, second rack, sort of saves space, gets them all out of the way. And when you place it, you get this little bit of kind of dirt behind it. I'm puzzled as to whether or not that was supposed to be sat directly on it, or whether that's supposed to be a little bit behind. I don't know for definite. But in the end, you know, at the end of the day, it looks like kind of galvanised steel with your racking bars that go across. It's bright. You're not going to miss it in the yellow. It is not too expensive either. I think it was under. Oh, it's under placeables, isn't it? Now I can't remember if it was decoration. Yep, under decoration, pallet racking, 2,500 to buy, and 1 slot. Obviously, it will cost you more to place it if your ground's not completely flat. So the flatter the ground, the closer to 2,500 it will be. But there you go, pallet racking by Black Labele TWD Modding. Next up, we have got the Pottinger Syncro 3030. This is by MefiuFs, I think it's MefiuFs, I'm sorry if I get it wrong, MefiuFs Ziuta. This is 5 slots. Again, we've got another nice, tidy mod. Lots of great detailing in the springs and, you know, all the discs and the rollers and the tines, and yeah, so it's a nice looking mod. It does what it should do. It's a cultivator. I'm going to stick this one on the Ursus, I think. That took a while to get going, as it will. So we'll hook it onto there very, very quickly. So, in store, this is under cultivators, obviously. I say obviously. No, it's not obvious, is it? This is under cultivators. Right at the end, 14,000 to buy, so not overly expensive. It's another 3 metre cultivator. I know people are looking for wider ones, they want something more than 3 metres. And this is, how many did I say it was? 5 slots. There are no options. Oh, yes, there are, of course there are. Just remembered. Right, so on the back here, we've got these kind of hazard squares. We can have type 1 at that level, type 2 lower down. So the type 1s are kind of bolted on a long arm bracket, and type 2s are kind of off that lower one on a straighter little bar. So that's your option, type 1 and type 2. I don't think much else changes between those 2 types. Nope, it's just that changes as far as I'm aware. Animations and sound effects. Let's see, shall we? Nothing I can hear, but then that said, the tractor is quite loud. So there you go. 3 metre cultivator. And that's by MefiuFs Ziuta. And last up of our mods today, we have got the Bergman TSW4190. This is by MefiuFs as well. It's a muck spreader. It's another one, it looks quite, I don't want to use the word cartoony. It's kind of very slab-sided, very basic, you know, solid blocks of colour. You have got the galvanised wheel arches. It's quite a wide one as well. But there's a couple of things about this which are really quite nice. Like I say, it's kind of simplified chassis design. There's nothing too overly complicated. There's not a huge amount of detail on it. But if we have a look at in store, this is under, where are we? Manure spreaders. This is, there we go, the 4190. It's a 15,000 litre muck spreader with a 15 metre width that requires 150 horsepower to operate. But it's only 25,000. If we go across and we find another 15,000 litre one, we've got the Kuhn one there, the SLC 141, which is 15,520, a little bit bigger, which is 180 horsepower requirement and 54 grand. We've got a 16,000 litre one there for 43 grand. We've got the 10,000 litre FarmTech one there for 27.5. So it's a 15,000 litre capacity for 25 grand. That's a really good price. That's not bad at all. And only 3 slots, which again, that's not bad at all. So I thought what we'll do, we'll have a quick, let's try it out. Take it to the field and just have a look at the spread width. I did a tiny little bit of cultivating, so much as you give it a go. So we have to open it up first. L1 and X opens up the back plate like so and prepares it. And there we go. Not a bad spread. Doesn't seem to be something else I quite like about this actually. It's not going through the manure as quickly as you might think it would. And I'm coming up on the back of the other vehicle. But there you go. You know, it's a muck spreader, 15 metre width, not overly expensive. And that's by MefiuFs. That's all of the mods in this review. I know, like I say, I'm a little bit late. I should have. I would like to have done it on Friday when the mods came out. That just wasn't possible. But in all honesty, had I have done the mod review on Friday, I wouldn't have known about the Fendt and the kind of head suspension because I only found out about that a little bit later. So it's probably worked out better than that happened that way. I hope you found this useful and informative in some way, shape or form. If you have, give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. Thanks for watching.